Pleased to be joined on the phone right now with Speaker of the House, Davy Carter. Good morning, Speaker. How are you?
Hey, Alice. Good morning.
I appreciate you joining us. You've had a busy 100 days plus there at the Capitol. What are your overall thoughts of the session? Things wrapped up yesterday. You have a few housekeeping details to come back and before final adjournment in mid-May. But what are your overall thoughts and impressions on how this session went?
Oh, I don't even know where to start, Alice. Yesterday with the bill signing on private option, I was standing back there with looking at all the people in the room and just thinking about everything that had gone into not only that, but all of the other issues that we dealt with, the tax cuts, the Big River Steel project, and so all of the hundreds and hundreds of hours of work and conversation and blood, sweat, and tears that went into that point. I think it was a home run. You never can get 100% of everything you want, but on the whole, in those dynamics with all of the things going on, I just really don't know how it could have gone any better.
Clearly, the private option legislation was the cornerstone of this legislative session. Huge impact on the state of Arkansas. Medicaid expansion is how it started out, and with a lot of work and bipartisan cooperation, we have this private option that was signed by the governor yesterday. And like it or not, critics and fans and foes alike attribute you and a handful of Republicans for getting us to where we are today with this private option. A lot of negotiation back and forth and clear bipartisanship. Just want to get your thoughts on, as you said, with all the work, the hundreds of hours behind the scenes work, what was it like watching the governor sign that into law yesterday?
It was an amazing process, reflecting on how we got from A to Z. If you would have asked me at the first of the session if there was any chance of doing anything, I would have told you no. A 0% chance. And those guys rolled their sleeves up and got down to details and worked with John Seelig and Andy Allison. I'd give those gentlemen credit too. They were just outstanding to work with, and it was just a pleasure pulling everybody pulling in the same direction. I asked some folks the other day. I said, what would it have been like, right now, adjourning the session, if we had gotten that far with the private option, and that creative, that progressive, and trying to figure out something good for the state, and then not passed it, and then subsequently not passed, our $100 plus $50 million plus tax cuts. I would have felt like a complete failure. I probably would have been sitting here at my house today, just wondering, beating my head in, wondering what went wrong. But obviously that didn't happen. It was just remarkable. It makes me proud to be an Arkansan, to know that, we didn't just sit here twiddling our thumbs waiting on the feds to fix this healthcare problem. That at least we're trying. At least there's a chance. We have something that's different than the status quo. We all knew, and a turning point for me was when we figured out what was going to happen if we didn't do anything. And once that sunk in, I said, that's not acceptable. We've got to do something different. And I think we ended up with the framework that we still have a lot of work to do as far as implementation, but we've got a framework that I really do think has a chance to lead the country in this area. And I know you do, and I know your listeners do. It's kind of, you feel the same way that I do on this. It's kind of nice to be leaders in the country and not sit back and wait for other states to do things. So I'm just overwhelmingly pleased and just proud of all my colleagues. It's put a lot of hard work into this.
Speaker, there's clearly folks on the other side of this issue that say this is nothing more than expanding Obamacare. A group came out yesterday, Arkansans Against Big Government, plan to file a referendum. and say this will come back to haunt any Republicans who supported private option when they go up for re-election?
Well, I see how I can answer that. I mean, I respect their involvement and their enthusiasm for the process and the issue, but the reality is that we can have there weren't any better choices. I mean, that's the law of the land. President Obama's still the president, and the Supreme Court has ruled, and we've been through an election cycle, and I just don't see it changing. And if you can't see the negative effects of sitting around doing nothing, and the positive effects of doing what we did, I just don't from a practical standpoint how you could recommend that we do the other. As far as the re-election and politics goes, and within the Republican Party, I don't worry about that stuff. You try to make the best decisions for the state, and frankly, in any future elections, if people are going to turn the blind eye, not even give a good faith analysis of what the choices were and what happened, I don't want those people voting for me anyway. So, some of these other candidates can have those people. I don't mean that disrespectful. It's just when you're down there and you're trying to do what's best for the state and you're making reasonable analysis, I think the majority of our Kansans appreciate it. And I'm just confident we made the right decision. Would I have ever dealt that hand of cards for any state, the state of Arkansas? No. But they were there. The responsible thing and the right thing for our citizens was to deal with it, and we dealt with it in the right way.
Speaker Carter, my guest is Speaker Davy Carter. Wrapping up the legislative session yesterday, I've got one more question, a couple more questions in a few minutes here. Social issues took up quite a bit of basically the first half of the session. Clearly, none of that would have gone through had the session not been controlled, the House and Senate controlled by Republicans. Do you think that ended up being a positive thing for the people of Arkansas? The social issues, given
social issues,
social issues.
Just general. That's I'm a social conservative. I don't necessarily lead with those issues. I'm more focused on tax policy and prudent budgeting and creating jobs and those sorts of things. If I were king, I probably wouldn't have gone as far as we did. But again, you can't get 100% of everything you want. And at the end of the day, I think there was certainly a lot of support from membership and from people in the state on those issues. They're just the reality is just from a personal level, those were just emotionally difficult to deal with, and created some difficult moments within the chamber. But like any strong group, we got through it, and the sun came up another day, and we all went on to. I feel like I'm glad I had a part of being able to bring people together, and subsequent to those issues and tackling the fiscal things and this private option issue. So I heard where Mike Ross said the other day that this was just one of the most partisan sessions in the history of the state, and I just don't think that could be any more inaccurate. I mean, they're out of touch. I mean, if you could have seen the members on both parties, Republicans, Democrats, men and women, people from all parts of the state coming and working together, and talking to each other, communicating, and it was anything but that. And I bet you could pull all 100 members, and you wouldn't get 10% of them that would say it was partisan session. And it's Washington literally could take a lesson from good folks here in Arkansas how to govern. And I really, really do mean that. And it was just a great honor to be a part of it.
Speaker Carter, I just have one more question here. You bring up Mike Ross. A lot of chatter, talk going on. What are your plans? Will you run for governor? Will you run for Senate, Congress? What are your plans after this session?
I'm thinking about the governor's race, but I really just want to get out of the marble walls there for some time and get my arms around with everything and get my head clear. And those are big decisions. And sometimes when we're in the Capitol in that atmosphere for 18 hours a day, sometimes you have to question some of the thoughts you have. But I want to get my mind right and talk to my people that are close to me and make that decision. But I am thinking about it. I just think Arkansas is in a spot right now where somebody's going to have to be in to follow Governor Beebe that can reach out and work in the middle and work with all parties and is committed to doing what's best for the state, regardless of partisan politics. And it's just too important for all of us. I've got 3 kids. I love the state, and I want to see what's best for the state. And those are the kind of about, and who knows? So.
All right, Speaker Davy Carter, House Speaker Davy Carter. Appreciate your time this morning. Get some rest. You've earned a little R&R. All of your colleagues there at the state capitol earned some good time off and wrap things up in mid-May. Appreciate your time this morning and look forward to speaking with you soon.